guys, what we want to do today is we want to go ahead and take our test. Essentially what we're going to do for this test is we're going to write a 3-paragraph essay in accordance with our student constitution. The other thing that I want to point out to you is that we are looking to understand what was Martin Luther's role in the Church Reformation. We want to understand what was the overall impact on the society with religious changes in Switzerland and England within the Catholic Church. And we want to make sure that we are using the information from our textbook, the informations from Unit 1, Week 1, Unit 1, Week 2, to cite evidence and get our paper moving in the right direction. So let's go ahead and jump into Unit 1, Week 2. We have our note guide that we can use, and we have the link to our essay, and we want to know, was the Reformation positive or negative, and why? Obviously, the 3 paragraphs are going to tell us why. So if we click here, that'll take us to our outline on Google Docs. Make sure that you include your last name and page number up here, your name, my name, period. So if you're in hour 2, you'll put World History Hour 2. If you're in hour 7, you'll put World History Hour 7. Then include the day, and it's January, and the year is 2015. Again, this assignment is due next Tuesday, so you should have several days to write this. If you don't finish in class today, you should be able to finish in class today. Your title should be coded, just like all of our assignments, U1-A3 Reformation Essay. And if you click up here on the file name, you can change the file name. You should put your last name, your hour, and then U1-A3 Reformation Essay. I'm going to cancel that because this is coded as U1A3 Reformation Essay here. I don't want to confuse my name with any of your names. You're going to want to work on your introduction. Write in a grabber, something that gets your attention. Something might be interesting from our clip on the Diet of Worms. You might put, a quote from Luther: "Unless I can be convinced by Scripture and Scripture alone, I cannot and I shall not recant. Here I stand, only a man." That's a pretty moving quote. Bottom line is Luther's changing the rules in the meeting. What he's saying is that, in fact, Scripture is the thing that brings people to God, not the church, not the Pope, and people who have been misleading some of those followers of Christ. So that could be a pretty powerful grabber. Then you're going to want to create the setting, describe what is happening in the Catholic Church. So sources for this could be your, let's go here, go back to the home page, go to the textbook, sign in. If you're sitting in class, obviously you can open your textbook. Student 1 is your password. Go ahead and sign into that. Click on it. Whenever it opens up, your assignment is 423 through 433. You'll notice here's Luther's 95 Thesis. So here's the background to the Reformation. Some of this stuff has been highlighted for you by me. There's some notes in here to help you out. If you click on the pin, it should give you a note. Double click, excuse me. Check out the green sections for help on your bell ringer questions. Alright, so we've been over that. Anything out of here should be cited to Ellis, and this would be page number 423, so it should be Ellis 423. As you're developing your notes, make sure that you are using the correct parenthetical citations. If we jump back to our outline here, once we've described what's happening in the Catholic Church, sale of indulgences and some of those things, then what we're going to want to do is we're going to restate the question, and the question is, was the Reformation positive or negative? And then you're going to create your claim. You're going to say the Reformation was positive and or negative, and describe your reasons. You really only need one main reason for this three-paragraph essay, but if you were to have more reasons, you could expand your paper or do whatever it is that you need to do there. So that is your introduction paragraph. Then you're going to have one body paragraph in which you're going to have the mini claim. This is the why of your claim. So you will state again, the Reformation was positive because da 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 da. You might include a quote about how positive it is, something, either from your notes, from the presentations, from your own personal life if you want. Make sure that we're not using any personal pronouns. Then you're going to need to explain the quote. Many of you did a great job on this in your break essays. We're doing much better at explaining quotes and telling the reader what it means. You're going to need a secondary evidence. What information from a credible source supports your mini claim and claim? This should be something out of the website. So let's go back and look at where to find those things. You go back to Blackboard. You go to Unit 1 Reformation. If you look at Unit 1 Week 1 Reformation, we have Luther's bio. You could jump in here and get some information about Luther. You could talk about how he's a Catholic monk, how he only wanted to reform the church, make things better. If you wanted to watch the clip on the diet of worms, here's the clip. Here are the 95 Theses, talking about some of the things that are wrong. And then finally, here's the presentation. If you want to jump in here and talk about how the Catholic Church actually reforms itself in the Council of Trent, that might be a good place to go as well. So those are some of your sources. The other thing that might be a great place to go when you're looking at your textbook is to that primary source on 424, looking at the wood cutting from Cranach the Elder. And this obviously just compares Lutheranism to Catholicism. It could give you some background information as well. Let's go back to our outline. Once you have your second evidence, your explanation, you need to make an argument. How do all the evidences prove the mini claim, either the Reformation was positive or negative? And then transition, you're going to want to move from the topic in the body paragraph to your conclusion. In the conclusion, you're going to summarize the setting. So in conclusion, the 16th century Catholic Church did whatever it did. Evidence 1, talk to me about your quote. Summary of evidence 2, talk to me about your second evidence, explain it, and then restate the claim for your reader. Please, again, eliminate any personal pronouns, and also make sure that you are not using any contractions. Notice your evidences need to have sources, and then you will need to have a works cited. A nice little hint for you is that I've provided the textbook link for you, making sure that everything is left aligned and tabbed over. Your whole paper should be 12-point font, Times New Roman, double spaced. The final thought for this paper is that you will be graded using the rubric that we've been using all along. If you have any questions about MLA formatting, you can click on the writing guide over here. If you finish early and you want to share with your peer, the list of partners is here. For 7th hour, that's the example hour that we're using in this film today. Black and Riddle are together, Bolsinga and Hoffman are together, Bonham and Payne are together, Bradfield and McNeely are together, Duty and Reinhardt, Grace, Updike, and Woods are in that love triangle, and Grandin and Stark are together. So if you finish early, you can do that. And then here's a sample of what your paper should look like. Obviously, there's a outline in the second. Once you have your rubric open, you want to focus with your partner on, do they have a strong claim? Do they say the Reformation was positive or negative? Do they provide a reason? And do they follow that reason all the way through the paper? Organization should be pretty simple. It's a 3-paragraph essay. This almost takes care of itself, but you want to make sure that you have a strong introduction and conclusion. You want to also make sure that the body paragraph has a flow to it. It shouldn't be a choppy body paragraph. You should be able to read that paragraph straight through, and then double check to make sure that their evidences and the the information in their introduction about the setting has been sourced. For this paper, you should probably have at least 2, if not 3 sources, so the parenthetical citation should link right directly to the works cited page, and your language and conventions, your language, make sure there are no personal pronouns, make sure there are no contractions. If there's a word used in there, make sure that it makes sense in how it's used. And then finally, conventions. If you can read it without it being any major issues on conventions, then it should be a positive paper. The most key thing is that the errors that the paper has don't really interfere with the reading or distract the reader. So again, thank you for your time. Good luck on your final assessment, and I look forward